It is July 8th, 2023. I am Lights Camera Jackson, and we are here. And welcome to LCJ Live. Happy 90th birthday to the Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. Ooh, and I had my volume up, so I just said it twice. 90th birthday to the Eagles, who were named the Philadelphia Eagles on this day 90 years ago. Happy 90th. Fly, Eagles, fly. Wow, amazing. Coming up here live on LCJ Live, I'll share my thoughts on the box office results for this weekend's new movies and the other movies that are in theaters. Plus, how will Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 do next week when it opens mid-next week? I will give you my predictions and my thoughts. If you are here live, thank you for joining me. If you're watching this later on, all right. But if you're here now, let's go with Insidious the Red Door. 15.2 million so far. It made 5 million on Thursday, another 10 million yesterday on Friday, and it's going to do at least 30 million total this weekend, more than most people expected. I thought it was going to be around there because that's what some of the other ones have done in the past. Yeah, Insidious the Red Door from a new studio. And I know some people are saying, oh, Sony was sort of within the Insidious franchise from the beginning. Yeah, but the distributor, the main distributor, was Film District for the first two, which then was absorbed into Focus and Universal, which took care of the next two, the last two, the previous two. And now it's Sony Screen Gems all the way. Sony is the name on this one officially for the first time, and it has done 15.2 million so far. It will beat Indiana Jones this weekend, I'm pretty sure, because Indiana Jones only added 7.6 million yesterday. It's at 102.3 for Disney. Indiana Jones going to drop to 23, 24 million. I think at this point, Insidious has to do more than 9 or 10 million between today and tomorrow, so pretty confident Insidious the Red Door will be number one. James Hennessy, thanks for being here on LCJ Live. We'll go LCJ. Thanks for being here and watching the show today. So yeah, everybody thought it was going to be a really close battle, and because of the Thursday advantage, and because of the built-in franchise factor, because of it being a horror movie, because it's only PG-13, Insidious the Red Door is bringing in the teens and bringing in the horror movie fans this weekend. Now, it'll probably have a big drop next weekend, probably, maybe. Go down to 10 or 12 million next weekend, but for now, Sony is over the moon with Insidious the Red Door being number one. But a film that has done quite well this week and will continue to do quite well over the weekend, Sound of Freedom from Angel Studios with Jim Caviezel, added 5.3 million on Friday, yesterday. So when the weekend box office results come out, and it'll do about 14, maybe 15 million, but it had that huge start on 4th of July. It made $14 million on the 4th of July. So right now, Sound of Freedom is at 27.3 million total. It'll add another 10 million or so. That'll bring it to 38 million-ish by the time we get to tomorrow night. That's a very good start for Sound of Freedom, a film that is bringing in a lot of people to the theaters. Liza Friedman. Why is the SI highlighted red in the Insidious posters? You know, I was kind of wondering that as well. I actually haven't seen any of the Insidious movies. I have not seen The Red Door. I've seen some other horror movie franchises, just haven't seen the Insidious ones over the years, but maybe I'll check this one out. But there's got to be a reason for it. If you've seen the movie and you know what the reason is, you can comment here on LCJ Live or... yeah, I was a little surprised by that because it's the 5th installment in the franchise, but I think it takes place before one of the other installments, so that's interesting. Let's go now to Elemental. Elemental added 2.9 million. It's at 102.5. Wow. As I just posted again, I predicted last month that Elemental was going to be a long-term play based on strong word of mouth. Everybody said, oh my gosh, it opened to less than $30 million. It's a bomb. It's a flop. It's Pixar. They're done. They're done. No, I even knew before I saw the full movie. Yes, I went to Pixar in March, met the incredible talented makers, saw some scenes, but I had this gut feeling week of Monday, Tuesday. This is going to be a word of mouth play. You've got Spider-Verse making so much money. You've got this original Disney animated movie on the same day as The Flash, and now it's making more money total than The Flash. It opened 25.4 million less than The Flash, and now it's going to top The Flash. It's hard to do, and it's doing it. Elemental is a very good film. It's number 6 on my list of the 10 best movies of the first half of the year. That list, by the way, is at the blog section of lights-camera-jackson.com. It's strong word of mouth because this movie really is not for the under 20 crowd. I say when it comes to the animated movies out right now, Ruby Gillman, under 20 crowd. Elemental, over 20-year-old crowd. If the over 20 crowd is going, and I think they are, and kids are going as well, that's why Elemental's doing so well, because you can connect to the 2 lead characters, Ember and Wade. It's about young love, it's about finding yourself, it's about who you are and discovering who you're meant to be with. That's what the movie is about, and that's what people are discovering, and that's why it's making money. So it opened at 29.5, it's at 102.5. Needs to get to 118.4 in order to pass Lightyear from last year. If it adds another 6 million this weekend, that's up to 108.5. Because it doesn't have major animation competition until the beginning of August with Ninja Turtles, I think it's going to pass Lightyear. I really do. So congratulations to Disney and Pixar. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse added 2.3 million on Friday. It's at 352. 6th biggest Sony Columbia movie of the 21st century. Huge. 352. Now Joyride started off with 2.6 million. So it made 1.1 million in the preview screenings that were held last Saturday, Wednesday night, and Thursday night, 1.1. It added 1.5 yesterday. So it's at 2.6. It'll add another 3 million or so. The weekend gross for Joyride will be about 6 million. I was thinking 10 to 12. And I know there were some estimates that were going 7 to 9. I saw 8.4 from one estimate. I was thinking this could do 10 to 12. From the buzz that it was getting from CinemaCon earlier this year where it was screened, to the word of mouth from the majority of the people who saw it who liked the movie. I don't like the movie. I don't think it works. But a lot of people who liked it, I think, expected that this movie was going to have strong word of mouth. The problem, I think, is this. No Hard Feelings just came out 2 weeks ago, a raunchy R-rated comedy, another movie I think is terrible. And so maybe there are some people who are like, we just had a raunchy R-rated comedy that isn't doing that well. No Hard Feelings added 1.6. It's at 36.8. It opened to 15. It'll get to maybe close to 50. Well, maybe a little less. If it gets to 50, Sony will call that a success. But like I've been saying, for a movie that Sony sent Jennifer Lawrence around the world for to promote it, to only do 45 to 50, I don't know. So, and I think Strays, which is coming out in August, another raunchy R-rated comedy, I don't think it's going to do exceptionally well. There are actually a lot of movies coming out in August. Everybody says, August is bare. August is a terrible time to release movies. There's actually a lot of movies coming out in August, from Ninja Turtles to Blue Beetle to Meg to a couple with Helen Mirren. And you've got Strays, and you've got Equalizer 3 on September 1. So there are a lot of movies coming out in August and the beginning of September, and I think Strays is going to get lost in the equation. But there will be some Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx fans who do go. But another raunchy comedy, I don't think it looks very good. Universal had no problem delaying its release from June to August recently. So yeah, the raunchy R-rated comedy genre has been misguided for a long time, and I think it's time for a shakeup. I don't think audiences are craving these movies. They're not very good, and they're not connecting to a lot of people. Transformers, Rise of the Beasts added 1.4 million. It's at 143.1 for Paramount. It passed some of the other Transformers movies. Maybe it'll make a run at 150. I think Paramount would be happy with that. James C., have there been any raunchy comedies that you enjoyed? They don't seem to be making them anymore. It's hard for me to think of one, honestly, off the top of my head that I truly liked. I mean, even, we've had a few over the years, like Ted. I enjoyed Ted because I thought it was funny. I actually think Ted 2 is a lot better than Ted 1. That's raunchy, but it's smart and it's clever and it has a focus to it. The Ted movies, especially Ted 2, a lot of the Seth Rogen movies, some of them work, some of them don't. Sausage Party I thought was terrible. Look, an animated movie, I respect the animation, I respect the animation makers. Sausage Party just did not succeed as a funny movie. Yeah, I guess Ted 2 comes to mind for me. And I know I'm in the minority when it comes to liking Ted 2 more than Ted 1, but I really think if you look at that film, it's a much smarter movie than the first Ted. Little Mermaid added 1.1 million. It's at 286.7. Disney can't get this to 300. If they do, I don't think they can. Maybe they'll try. Maybe they'll re-release it in some theaters or package it with Haunted Mansion in more drive-ins. Drive-ins have already been putting Little Mermaid with Indiana Jones and with Elemental, and they're just basically saying, please come see The Little Mermaid, please. We want this to make more money. But I don't think it can get to 300. Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, added 850,000. It's at 9.7 after 10 days for Universal and DreamWorks. I'd like to see it get to the 17 million of what Spirit Untamed did in 2021 for DreamWorks. It's going to be close. The Flash, Asteroid City, Guardians, I think outside the top 10, at least for the Friday gross. We'll see if one of them makes it into the top 10 for the official weekend box office results. NCFL Top 15. Thanks for being here on LCJ Live. Appreciate it. Let's talk about Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, which opens mid-next week. Paramount, Tom Cruise, they're coming off of Top Gun Maverick, which was a phenomenon. Made, $720 million domestically, one of the biggest movies of all time. Did such incredible repeat business last summer. This Mission Impossible is not going to do that. It's not. It's just not. Even with the glowing reviews that it's getting so far, I haven't seen it yet. I hope it's good. And even with what it's getting so far, the Mission Impossible movies have been big hits, but haven't been outrageous hits. I mean, you look at some of the past ones, and I'm going to just pull up a chart here just to make sure I get it right. Fallout in 2018 only totaled 220. Before that, Rogue Nation did 195. Ghost Protocol 2011, which everybody wanted to see on the IMAX, did 209. Mission Impossible 3 back in 2006 only did 134. The franchise really got revamped. Brad Bird came in, Tom Cruise, this new generation with Ghost Protocol. Here's my thought about, let me answer NCFL Top 15's question about will Tom Cruise ever go back to doing dramas again? Hey, I hope he does. He's in this action movie state of mind right now, but even American Made, which was a little bit of an action movie, but more of a comedy drama, was really good. I hope he does. Even something like Rock of Ages, where he took a lot of chances. I thought he was fantastic in Rock of Ages. But will he ever get an Oscar nomination again? Look, Tom Cruise was nominated for the Critics' Choice Award for Best Actor for Top Gun Maverick. A lot of people thought, will he actually be a Best Actor Oscar nominee? And that fifth slot went to Paul Mescal, who was very good in After Sun. Even Tom Cruise, one of the biggest movie stars on the planet, everybody had Top Gun Maverick on their minds. And yes, he's a producer, so he got nominated as a producer. But even with that, and Tom Cruise did not get that fifth slot because of a small movie called After Sun that's very good, and this actor, Paul Mescal, getting his first nomination. Tom Cruise has been nominated 3 times as an actor, 1 time as a producer. I think he'll get nominated again, or he will get an honorary Oscar before the end of his career. Colin says, have you seen Sound of Freedom? Sorry if I missed it. I have not seen Sound of Freedom yet, but it's doing really well. Maybe I'll go check it out soon. Jim Caviezel did a movie a couple years ago called Infidel that I thought was very good. Not a lot of people saw it. It came out, I think it was 2021 or it might have been 2020. And not in a lot of theaters because of the COVID situation in theaters, but I thought Infidel was very good. So anyway, getting back to the Mission Impossible movies, look, the highest grossing one only did 220. Top Gun Maverick did 500 million more than that. So I can see Dead Reckoning Part 1 doing more than 220 total. Paramount wants this to have a $100 million long weekend when it starts midweek. How much more will it do than the 220? Depends on if people want to go see this 2-hour, 43-minute movie again and again. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to have the kind of repeat business that Top Gun Maverick. It won't have the exact repeat business that Top Gun Maverick did, but will it have close to that? We will have to see. But Paramount betting on it a lot. This will be their biggest movie of the year for sure, over Transformers at 143. I think it'll do the 100 million by next Sunday night. I do. How much more than 220 total? Maybe it gets to 250. Maybe it does more. Maybe it does astronomical numbers. I mean, I remember listening to people do summer predictions last year, and they were going, oh, Top Gun Maverick, 250, maybe 3 if it's lucky. Yeah, I don't think it's going to do. And it did 720. So maybe we're underestimating Tom Cruise again. Maybe. But Top Gun Maverick was an event. I knew it the screening night I went on the Tuesday night in a very crowded screening in an RPX. You could just feel it in the room. This is an event. And those really only happen, and the Marvel movies used to be events. They're not quite as much events anymore. Really only happens a couple times a year when you feel like you're at an event movie at a theater. I remember The Irishman. To me, that was an event experience because it was not playing in a lot of theaters. It was opening week. It was New York City, pre-COVID, and the vibe in the room for this 3.5-hour Martin Scorsese movie, that to me felt like an event. Even with some of these blockbusters or smaller movies, something like an event. For some people, Indiana Jones is an event because it's the movie they've been waiting for so long. To some people who love Pixar, every Pixar movie is an event. So I think in the case of Top Gun Maverick, it was absolutely an event that lasted the entire summer, lasted into early fall, and now here we go with Mission Impossible, a movie that will do well, but I don't think it's going to do close to the Top Gun Maverick levels. But I hope it's a good movie. In limited release next Friday is Theater Camp, which I have seen. Here's what I'll say about Theater Camp. I wanted to like it a lot more than I do. There are elements of the movie that do work, some supporting elements. You know who's in the movie? Alan Kim is in the movie. Now, Alan Kim won the Critics' Choice Award for his performance in Minari from 2 years ago. And he gave this moving speech for the Critics' Choice Awards, and it was so lovely. And it was so nice to see Alan Kim in Theater Camp because, and I'm making sure it was him, I'm pretty sure, because he brings so much joy to the movie. What Theater Camp is missing is joy. Theater Camp knows what it wants to do, sort of. It wants to make fun of the theater camp experience, the people who are fans of Broadway shows who want to get this experience, who want to learn from these teachers. And it makes fun of that, but it also embraces that. So it sort of knows what it wants to do, but it still kind of clashes a little bit. But I found a lot of the movie to be kind of negative, except for moments like Alan Kim, who wants to be a theater agent, an actor agent, and he kind of shadows the agent that's there at the theater camp. And his moments brought me joy watching the movie, and I was missing that from the rest of the film. I think Ben Platt is very talented as a performer and an actor with something like Dear Evan Hansen, but with Theater Camp, it's not a funny role, it's not a smart role, it's not a moving role for him. He was also at the People We Hate at the Wedding, which was a comedy that came out on Amazon Prime last year that wasn't very good. So I was missing joy and kind of a happy experience for most of Theater Camp. There's a big surprise cameo at the end that I won't spoil that I enjoyed. And there's a couple moments that made me laugh, but I wanted to like Theater Camp a lot more. Will you be going to any drive-ins this summer? Favorite drive-in food? Ooh. I may visit a drive-in or two. I do some voice work for some of the drive-ins and support the drive-in movie theater experience. Favorite drive-in food? You got to try the pizza or the pretzels or the popcorn or anything they've got. The hot dogs. I always enjoy all of that. I also want to mention there's a movie coming out this week called The Miracle Club in select theaters from Sony Classics. It's with Maggie Smith, Laura Linney, Kathy Bates. The Miracle Club is a movie that I think is okay to start. Then it goes in some directions that don't quite work. It's not as powerful as you want it to be. It's not as emotionally moving as you want it to be. And it falls a little flat in the humor department and in the drama department. And it takes you in some directions I did not expect and just doesn't all come together. That's The Miracle Club. I will be seeing a movie called They Cloned Tyrone, which is coming to some theaters this coming Friday. Netflix on July 21. What else have I seen? I've seen The Outlaws. Wasn't very good, and that's on Netflix. The Wham documentary that's on Netflix is very good. Biosphere is not great. The Lesson, which is in select theaters. Yeah, we don't have the box office results yet for The Lesson. I hope that makes money. Go see The Lesson. Daryl McCormack, Julie Delpy, Richard E. Grant. It's in some theaters. Go see The Lesson. And then we've got Barbie Oppenheimer and Haunted Mansion for the end of the month, plus Talk to Me, Sympathy for the Devil, Beanie Bubble. So there's still some big movies coming out for the rest of July. When we're back here, should be next Sunday, July 16th for LCJ Live. We'll see how Mission Impossible does. We'll preview the Barbie Oppenheimer box office, who will win in one of the biggest battles of the last few years. We'll talk about that and more. So thank you for watching LCJ Live. Happy 90th to the Philadelphia Eagles. As always, go to my website. It's lights-camera-jackson.com. It's Twitter at LCJ Reviews. Instagram at lightscamjackson. YouTube.com/lightscamerajackson. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time for LCJ Live. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.